Hello there. Pink Lady presents shows, performers of lives well lived. And today we definitely have a life that's well lived. He is an author, a poet, many things that he has done. Now a lawyer. I mean, I can't name some of the stuff that he's done because there's tons of them.
But I'll bet you he could.
And he could.
There's some that I won't.
Well, we want to know the ones that you won't, because that's my audience out there.
That's what they want.
Alan Buchholz, welcome to Pink Lady Presents It Ain't Over Till We Say It's Over.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. So tell me about yourself. When I said that you were an author and a poet, a lawyer, what other things can we describe you as?
Brain damaged college football player.
Oh, okay. But I get that, yes. But you also played sports in high school.
Yeah, I played football, ran track in high school.
Right. And
played college football.
Right. And coming from a family, what I call, here's what you said. I learned that love can survive the chaos and despair of life.
Right.
Now, that came from somewhere as you were growing up, and we should tell our audience about that.
Well, I was raised primarily in a little 500 square foot house near downtown Los Angeles, the LA River.
Right.
My father worked 6 days a week, 16 hours a day.
This was your stepdad.
Yeah, well, I call him my father.
Correct.
My biological father is the villain in my memoir, but he married my mother. Sam Buchholz married my mother when I was 2, and treated me just as though I were his natural son.
Her book, Blanche Buchholz, is called The Poetry of Blanche Buchholz. We would like to get at least one poem from your mother's book.
I chose this poem because it expresses my mother's soul as it relates to her love of nature and her romantic spirit and essence, especially with a short reference at the end. It's called Regeneration. In autumn time, the leaves are bright, yellow, orange, and red, and then they fall until there are no leaves at all. But the tree is never dead. For when the pulsing voice of spring whispers to the dormant life within, the miracle rehappens. The new buds and growths begin. I am filled with wonder and with awe that neither pestilence nor war can stop this marvel of rebirth, this everlasting cycle of the earth. And that is why every spring my joyous heart begins to sing. In that moment of nature's ecstasy, when dawn bursts from the chrysalis of night, and birds of song give life to phantom air, and in the forest of the great green giants, as I watch a timid fawn sip of the liquid crystals of a brook, and in your eyes as they gaze into mine, and in the love and pure devotion there, and in the meaning hid within their depths, I find the inspirational beauty of life.
That's beautiful.
My mother and father loved each other deeply. She finally found a man who knew how to give and not take.
Right.
And he worshipped her. They didn't see each other that much because he worked so many hours.
Yeah, you were saying 16 hours a day.
6 days a week, yeah.
Right. But
and
he was a good provider.
I never got that much time with him either, but I knew he loved me.
Right.
And I respected him so much, and I knew how much he loved my mother.
So then what you did was, from what I was reading about you, is that you buried yourself in your junior high and your high school years.
I buried myself in work, always had a job, books, tons of books in my mother's, in the garage, from my mother's reading from Shakespeare to whatever.
Oh, okay.
And I never stopped being active in sports from the time I was 7 years old. I played football, baseball, ran track, had football scholarships to college. I mean, I was a real jock, and I was very active in school and president and this and that. So I'm trying to give the world a message that I had tremendous pain, and I used a mask of joy and happiness when I was in the outside world to hide the pain, but it was my pain, but it wasn't for me. I was the luckiest guy in the world. It was for my parents and the way they had to live and the way they had to drive out to Hollywood or Los Angeles all night looking for my brother or my sister
your
who
sister,
didn't take their
right.
medication because of their
Right, right.
schizophrenia. And so
Were they? How much younger were they than you?
my brother was almost 3 years younger, and he took his own life at 40.
Mm.
And my sister was living in a facility, has been for years, and she's 7 years younger than I am.
Wow.
So my pain was not for me. I was lucky. I
Right.
had the best of everything going as a kid. I had more accolades and honors than anybody could expect.
Well, I love it what you said when you were in your junior class motto. You said, honesty to oneself is loyalty to others. And I like that. How do you feel about that sentence now at a young 81?
To thine own self be true,
Mm-hmm.
as Shakespeare said.
Right, right.
And it must follow as the night to day thou canst not be false to anyone. He said it, but I didn't copy that. But Mrs. Broyles thought I did in junior high school. Because I
love
never
it.
heard of it by then at that point.
Okay.
But it just means that if you're honest to yourself and you have high standards, you have the standards for yourself are as high as they are for everyone else,
Right.
it follows.
Time. We always talk about time, everyone. And when I read your poem about time, I love that. So which book is that in?
That's my book. That's my book of poetry.
There you go. I think this is yours.
Is that,
Does
the
you
one,
have all-
is that
yeah.
the one you want to read first?
No,
You
yes,
ready?
uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
So
You're the
go ahead.
boss. Whatever you say.
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know where the poems come from. I can have a thought about something. All of a sudden I thought about time and its relationship to so many things. And the words just started coming out.
Love it.
It's kind of silly, but
No, nothing
but
silly
it's
when it comes to something like that.
But I found it meaningful to me. And the poem is entitled Time. What started before everything else on planet Earth? What runs out of itself with no end in sight? What has limitless range and no date for its birth? What do we race against that chases day into night? What do we keep track of that measures a race? What do we try to keep up with, yet we're always behind? What passes us by and never runs out of space? What is the one thing we lose, yet can never find? What do we kill that never dies? What do we not own that we've always kept? What controls the universe, yet has no size? What marches on, but never takes a step? What slows down the faster we run? What goes faster when we're having fun? So as my poem is riding out of time, I hope you find a bit of reason to my rhyme.
I love that one. I really
Thank
do.
you.
I was wanting to show everybody this book, Imposter in the Garage. If you didn't know the story like you just told it, I mean, you'd think, okay, it's an imposter. Someone went into the garage and whatever. Maybe they put a mask on or whatever. Goes much deeper than that. It says here, it's a blend of family secrets, deceit, heroes, which takes you on a painful journey to redemption. Heavy duty. What, when you say deceit, because sometimes sickness is not a deceit, so it couldn't be that part. Where was the deceit?
My biological father.
I get it. You know what? I want people to get this book.
Buckholtzbooks.com.
Good. So we have this. And then you wrote, was Mickey Rooney murdered? That just is, that blew my mind. Look at this, everyone. Our delightful, talented legend here, Mickey Rooney. How did you ever get an idea of this? And it says a fraud the whole world believed until now. Just give us a little bit of tidbit, because I don't want to spoil it for everybody.
I'm helping Eleanor pick out some floor coverings in a store. The lady found out I was a lawyer. She started asking me questions. She says, I have somebody who might want to talk to you. And there's this
Okay.
fellow in the back lifting carpets onto a van,
Right.
delivering carpets.
Right?
He was the son of Mickey Rooney's last wife, who
Oh.
was with him for 40 years,
Yes.
his widow Jan.
Right.
So he started talking to me, and he wanted me to sue some people, and I said, that's not appropriate at this point. And he says, well, Lisa said that you wrote a book, that you're a writer. I said, well, I wrote my memoir, and I wrote a book of poetry. He said, I'd like you to meet my mother.
Ah.
And so, I don't know, many people have seen this horrid story about how he was abused financially, emotionally, physically in the Inquirer and
Right,
every
right.
publication in the world.
Correct.
And there's a question mark at the
Yes.
end of the title, was Mickey Rooney murdered?
Right.
Everything is documented, and as an officer of the court, I'm obligated, even outside of my legal involvement, to not be deceitful, and if I write something, it has to be documented. Everything here is documented, and the question is, was Mickey Rooney murdered? Don't read the end of the book. It all builds up on documentation, and it brings down a major law firm, international law firm,
don't tell 'em
all
enough.
kinds of
Yeah.
stuff, but it's all documented. So I don't come at a conclusion. I let the reader come to the
Come
conclusion.
to their own conclusion. I get that. So, what are you doing now at this point in your life?
I started taking some singing lessons. I took singing lessons a few months ago, and the third lesson, this opera singer kind of freed my voice up, and now I'm starting to really enjoy singing. And I saw you, and here I am.
We're going to take a break, and you're going to see a completely different Alan Buchholz. We will be right back. We are back. As I told you, this gentleman, Alan Buchholz, is like everywhere. I mean, he just shines, and today we're going to see him shine singing for us a fabulous song. So, Alan, it's all yours. Thank you so much. I know my audience is going to love you.
I hope so.
You got it.
The song I'm going to sing is one that's maybe the most favorite and most romantic of any song written in the last 60 or 70 years. Oh, my love, my darling, I hunger for your touch. A long, lonely time, and time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much. Are you still mine? I need your love. Oh, I need your love. Godspeed your love to me.
Yes. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Ah. Alan Buchholz, my dear friends, you are definitely a man of all reasons and definitely a man of all seasons. I mean, poet, author, father, lover. By the way, everyone, the last line of Alan's memoir is, I refuse to kick the bucket until it's empty. I love that. And may you have many, many more years before it's empty. Thank you, everyone. God bless.
And you as well.
Thank you.
I'm gonna play for the sky. Ain't gonna miss a thing. I'm gonna have my fling. I'm gonna live, live, live until I die.